Now, what I want to do is, if you don't mind, I normally just go around the room, but I feel like it would be a good idea if I just gave you a good background and a good review. Okay, so let me just do that, and then eventually I'll let you guys start telling me what to do. All right. Now, I'm having conferences, and one of the main things I tell them is, if you don't tell me, I can't help. All right. If you don't tell me the problem, I can't help you. All right. So everyone in here has nothing to worry about their neighbor on the right, the neighbor on the left. No one cares if you know something or don't know something. All right. You're trying to be as smart as you possibly can. All right. So I really want you to ask questions, because we're getting the common denominators is much harder than last year, because you have to be able to tell me, am I adding? Am I subtracting? Are they both negative? Are they both positive? All right. Those types of things. What?
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. No, I'm going to do a couple and then you guys can help me. All right. So I think everyone should be able to look at this and say the common denominator is 6. Now, if you don't know that, you can tell me. I'm going to explain how to find the common denominators. Everybody okay with the common denominator being 6?
So
Yeah.
if we like tell 5 to go.
Well, no. Here's what you're supposed to be thinking. The multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. The multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24. I'm going to put 24 over here. So when we say a common, right, what is common? 6. So when you say least common denominator,
Oh, it's least, okay.
we want to pick the 6. If I picked 12, would I get the same answer? Yes. If I picked 18, would I get the same answer? Yes. It would just take me a little bit longer because I'd have to end up reducing. You with me on this, right? So that's how you find the least common denominator. All right. They're actually least common multiples, but we call them denominators because they're in the denominator. All right. So now we want to make it common denominator 6. So I'm just going to go slow here, and I'm going to change it to 6s. So what do I have to multiply the first fraction by? Tell me.
2.
2. So that became 4/6. Right? You with me?
Yeah.
Now, 5/6 already has a common denominator, so we just leave it as 5/6. Right? Tell me, good for you.
Why would we do 4 over 6?
Well, because I have to make the denominator the same. You with me?
Yeah.
Now, would you be better sitting in this chair for today? Would that help you see a little better? I want you to sit over here for me. All right. And I want you to ask me all the questions you want to ask me. All right. Now, are you comfortable? Now, did you understand why I did ×2?
No.
Okay, because I have to make the denominators the same in order to add fractions. Right? You with me? Now, that seems like a dumb rule to me, right? Believe it or not, that's exactly what I told my teacher. I said, look, I just want to subtract the numerators and subtract the denominators, correct? Let me try to show you up on the board real quick why you can't do that. All right. Now, would you agree 2/3? If I visualize 2/3, I'm going to try to visualize 2/3 for you. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, and please listen. Everybody listen, it's good visual stuff. For those of you guys who don't know the theory, but you know the algorithm to solve the problem, there's a difference. Everybody understand that, right? You want to understand the theory, not just how to do it. All right. So I'm going to draw for you 1/3. So I'm going to try to draw 1/3. So right now, I cut my pizzas into thirds. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my other pizza in 6s. I'm going to try. All right. Well, actually, I know what this is such a good drawing. I'm proud of myself. I'm going to take this, duplicate it, and now I'm going to show you something. Now, what did I do?
You put it in like 6.
That's right. I put it into 6s. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So now here's where I really want you to concentrate. Is 1/3 the same as 1/6?
No.
No, it's not. It's not the same. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
So I can't just subtract them. If I say eat one slice of the 1/6 and one slice of the 1/3, they'd be totally different. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate now what 2/3 looks like. Now, do you see how that's 2/3 now?
Yes.
And then over here, I'm going to represent 5/6. And then after this, I won't do this anymore. All right, because I don't want to bore you. You see that? Now I can't subtract because they're not the same slices. Do you agree?
Yeah.
But what I am going to do now, watch me. This is what's important. I'm going to convert these slices over here. I'm going to convert these slices to 6s. So how many slices is that? And how many are shaded?
4.
So that's how 2/3 became 4/6. And then this already is what? 5/6. Is that better now?
Yeah.
Now do you see how the slices are exactly the same?
Yeah.
And because the slices are the same, we can subtract them now. You with me on that?
Yeah.
That's critical. If you listened, all right, hopefully that helped you understand why you can't just subtract or why you can't just add when you don't have a common denominator. All right, the fraction on the bottom, or the denominator, what we call it, is the size that you're cutting. Okay, what?
Isn't like 2/3 like a common like fraction that you would know it equals 4/6? Like could you like say that we just know it's 4/6 and write that?
That's what you're doing.
I mean I know but like not to like the times.
Yes, that's what we're doing. All right. So now, after we're doing that, we're now looking at 4/6 minus 5/6. And now we're just using our rules. And 4 minus 5 is what?
1.
4 minus 5, be careful. Not +1, but
-1.
-1/6. You with me on that? All right. So again, yes. No, you're not listening, not listening. All right, let me do a couple of them. I'm gonna get you guys involved. All right, I'm gonna get you guys involved. All right, but I want to make sure this is crystal clear right here. All right. So now that's the reason why we have to get the common denominator. Okay, every time you have to have common denominators. All right, so now let's look at number 3. All right, so now for number 3, I would want everyone in here to be able to say, well, I know the common denominator is 20. Anybody having trouble with the common denominator being 20? Curtis, you good with that being 20? Like I said, if you don't know, you just do the multiples. All right. You understand it's 20,
Yeah.
right? Because we're taking the multiples: 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 10, 20. 20 is the least multiple. All right. So now we're going to convert everything to 20s. All right. Now, some of you, like Nora, don't have to write what you multiply by. I'm expecting you guys not to have to do that. All right. So what am I multiplying the first fraction by? Tell me. 5. So it becomes -15. So I multiplied by 5. Just like the second fraction, I have to multiply by 4. I'm sorry, by 2. And that becomes what? 14. And that becomes 14. Is everybody with me on this? All right. And now you're just looking at this from yesterday. -14 and -15 makes what? -29 out of 20. And are we okay to leave it like that? Yep, you're okay to leave it like that. Perfect. Anybody have any questions with that? Everybody good? All right, let's knock out number 5. Okay, now it's kind of annoying because there are 3 fractions. So now you're thinking multiples of 5, 4, and 10. Common denominator is 20. Again, so now everybody can write 20, 20, 20. 3 fractions. The first fraction I'm multiplying by. Second fraction. And the third,
2.
there you have it. And so now if you multiply 1 by 4, you get -4, -15, +14. How's that, guys? And now it's just where we did what we did yesterday. Now we can combine these. Now we can combine those. Agreed? And so if I combine all those, I should get -5 out of 20. And -5 out of 20, we have to reduce now. All right, divide by 5. I know some of you are like, I don't need to do that. You're right. You don't have to do that. You should be able to tell me just that's -1/4. All right. That's just -1/4. Anybody have any issues with that? Anybody? Everybody's happy?
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can make it harder. Number 7. All right, I always have some trouble with why kids don't know what 7 minus 2/3 is. Can anybody just tell me that's obviously what?
That would be 6 and 1/3.
Yeah, 6 and 1/3, right? So again, how are we thinking of that? These are like what? Pizzas. Again, it's not that it's that big a deal, but just think of it like this, just as a visual. So there I have my 7 pizzas. Do we agree? Right now, I'm coming along and I'm kind of hungry today. So I eat what? Well, yes, if I was that hungry, I would eat them all. That's correct. But in this case, I'm eating 2/3 of 1. That's how you're supposed to think of that. You're eating 2/3 of 1. So now you can say this slice is not there, this slice is not there. So how many pizzas are left? Whole pizzas. 6. And what fraction is left? 1/3. That's why the answer is 6 and 1/3. Yes.
For number 5, wouldn't it be positive?
Why do you think it's positive?
Because I thought, if there are 2 negatives, then it would be positive.
If you're multiplying, that's true, right? Not when you're adding though. Do you agree? Okay, so back to here. All right, now mathematically, here's what we're doing for 7 minus 2/3. Again, it's kind of like we're borrowing. The 7 becomes a 6, and then it's 3/3. That's kind of what we're doing. But I don't really want you doing that. I just want you to say, obviously, it's 6 and 1/3. Yes.
How would it become 3/3?
Well, because 1 pizza, I divided it into 3/3. So I could eat those 2 slices. You with me on that? But I would feel better if you just said, well, to me, it was logical. 7 minus 2/3 is 6 and 1/3, right? Because do you agree, before I did this part right here, there was 7, right? Then I had to cut it into what? I had to cut it into thirds. That's what I did. I took this one whole right here, because 6 plus 1, and I made that 1 3/3, and now I could subtract it. All right. All right. Hopefully you guys are getting some good information from this, even if you feel like you were good with fractions. All right, let's take out number 9 now. Now, surprisingly, this was hard for kids as well. All right, I just feel like everybody should be able to look at that and tell me what the answer is. What is it?
-49.
Say what?
I said -49.
I can't, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, -49. Oh, wait, no.
I'm asking about number 9. What did you get for the answer?
No, well, I did not forgot the negative.
Okay, thank you, sir.
4 and then 4.
I like that answer. I'm not saying it's correct, but I appreciate because you're listening.
-5 and 5/9.
Yes, -5 and 5/9. The reason why it's -5 and 5/9 is because this fraction right here is what? Negative, and this is negative. So you just put them together, right? So that is -5 and 5/9. Right? You would have been correct if, let's say, the 5 was positive. You hear me?
Mhm.
All right, that's good. Tell me.
So every time there's like two negatives and one's a whole, and one's a fraction.
Just put them together. They have to be the same sign, right? Because listen, here's what I'm going to get you. Watch, listen to me. So a lot of my kids forgot, what does 3.5 actually mean? What does 3.5 actually mean? It actually means 3 plus 1/2. That's literally what that means. But most people forgot that. All right. They're not sure what holds the 3 and the 1/2 together. It is a what? It is a plus sign, right? You good with that? All right. Here we go. So let's take a look at 11. All right. Now I've got problems. Now I want everybody to put a star here. All right. This one's a little bit harder. The reason why, number one, it's a little bit harder is because these are mixed numbers. All right, they're mixed numbers. So they're different from if they're just fractions. All right, so we have a whole number and a mixed fraction. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is this: am I going to add or am I going to subtract these? You're going to subtract, and you're not going to say subtract because the sign is subtraction. You're going to say subtraction because one is positive and one is negative. So everybody with me on that? One is positive, one is negative, so we're going to subtract. Everybody happy with that? All right. Now, if I'm going to subtract, can someone tell me right now, is the answer going to be positive or negative? It's definitely going to be negative. Thank you. So I like to put negative out in front so I don't forget the answer is negative. You with me on this? All right. Now we're going to try to subtract. So when you subtract, put the larger whole number first. So we're going to write 5 7/8 minus 3 5/6. Is everybody okay with that? Now, those of you guys who are paying attention, can you tell me, because we have to get common denominators, they don't have common denominators. Can someone tell me what the common, Maggie?
24.
You are awesome. Thank you. 24. Now, once again, if you're sitting there and you're going, I'm not sure how they're getting 24 so fast, you just have to tell me. Everybody's good with it being 24. Could I say 48?
Yes.
Yes, but it's just going to take me longer to do the problem because it's not the lowest. All right. You could do 48. All right. It's just not the smallest. All right. So now we said 24. So I'm going to put a 24 right here, and I'm going to put a 24 right here. And what do I have to multiply the first fraction by, Maggie?
You have to multiply it by 3.
And so that's going to give me a
21.
beautiful. Kelvy, what am I going to multiply the second fraction by?
4.
And that's going to give me a.
20.
Now I'm going to do the subtraction. Look how easy this was. Hey, Austin, what? Austin, you're not allowed to interrupt my class. Last time I'm telling you. Leave him alone. There's no reason to look back there. Now continue. Kelvy, what am I doing when I do the subtraction?
5 minus 3 equals 2.
And?
2. And then 21 minus 20 equals -1. And
So
then
I just want you to write 2 and 1 over 24. And that's why I want to make sure that as I'm writing this out, technically, we already said that it was negative. All right. So I want you to be real careful and make sure that you don't forget that the answer was negative, because technically the 5 is negative. Technically the 5 is negative and the 3 is positive. You okay with that? Anybody have any issues? What?
I'm not sure, but could you like turn it into an improper fraction?
If you do that, no, never do that. You're not allowed to ever do that anymore. You want me to tell you why? You want me to show you why? Because if I said something like this, 99 and 71 over 11 minus 33 and 54 over 19. You really think you're going to go 33 times 19 plus 54 and do all that work? And the answer is no. No, it's much easier to tackle these fractions by themselves. Trust me. All right. People who convert them to improper fractions, all right, they're thinking that you're not understanding how to subtract the whole numbers, honestly. It's much quicker to do it this way, much quicker, right? Even right here, I don't feel like going 6 times 3 plus 5. So that'd be 18, 23 over 6 minus 47 over 8. And then I'd have to multiply this by 4, 23 times 4 and 47 times 3. I don't feel like doing all that. Don't you agree keeping the number smaller is better?
If you're able to in your head, can you do it? Like if it works for you?
Wilson, you're not, when you say stuff like that, you're just not listening to me. Wilson, you can do it however you want, as long as you're getting the right answer. I've done it thousands of times. And if there was an easier way, guess what?
You would tell us.
I would show you. You just have to trust me that what I'm telling you is the absolute best way of doing things. All right. Now, some of you are saying, well, I like converting them. I'm going to give you problems that you can't do that for. You'll be sitting on your paper just working out problems forever that way. And you'll see as we go down the page, that's going to end up happening. All right. Trust me, it's just super easy this way. Super easy. All right. Stay with me. All right. So we're all good with that being -2 1/4. All right. So let's knock out number 13 now. All right. I want everybody to answer. Are we adding or subtracting? Subtracting. However, do we need a common denominator? No, we do not. But what is the problem for this one? If I said 716 minus 2 and 5 6, what's the problem?
You have to borrow.
You have to borrow. That's correct. And so when I borrow from the 7, I'm going to make it a what? 6. Now, because you paid attention yesterday, what happens to the 1 and the 6? You add them together. So cross out the 1 and make it a what? 7. All right. Now, this is something you can do in your head also. That's another reason why I don't like converting it, right? That was just super simple. So now what's 6 minus 2? 4. 7 minus 5?
2.
There you have it. 4 and 2, 6. But of course, we reduce it to 4 and 1/3. That was just simple. Good for you.
Can you read that again?
Yes, of course. Let's do it again. Let's do it again for practice. And again, it should be that quick, okay? Do you agree we have a common denominator?
Yeah.
So what am I going to do with the 7?
Cross it out and make it a 6.
Then always, what do I do with the numerator and denominator when I borrow? You just add them. What's 1 plus 6? 7. So we make that 7 over 6. All right, you good there? Okay, yes, ma'am.
Why would you cross the 7 out?
Well, because I can't do 1 minus 5. You see it now, right?
Yeah.
Whenever the first fraction is smaller than the second fraction, we have to borrow. Good? All right, let's knock out 15. All right, guys, here, am I going to add or am I going to subtract? You're going to add them because they are both what? They're both negative. They're both negative. All right? What, Austin? You're interrupting again.
I didn't get the answer to 13.
Why is that?
So I was on another problem.
Yes, you were not working with me. That's why. And then you're bothering other people. Not allowed to do that. Raise your hand and say, hey, Mr. Stroud, can you go back to 13 for just a quick second? Sorry to bother you. That's how you're going to do it. You hear me?
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking for you. All right. These guys are trying to work hard just like you. They don't want to be interrupted. They're just nice enough and they won't say that. All right, here we go. So I'm going to write negative 13 3/4. I like to write them stacked on top of each other. All right, now I need a common denominator. Aiden's going to tell me the common denominator. What is it? 8. Thank you, sir. Can I pick something other than 8 if I want, Aiden?
Yeah.
Yes, but 8 is best. So what do I have to multiply the first fraction by?
2,
So this becomes,
6,
and the bottom fraction becomes, or stays,
1.
1. Perfect. Now, both of them are negative, so we're going to add the fractions. So go ahead and add them for me.
Negative 18.
And you're just adding them.
Oh, wait, 7, 8.
Yes, there you have it. Negative 18 7/8. Good for you. Keep going.
I got negative 18 and 5/8.
Because you subtracted 6 minus 1. But I want you to remember, these are both negative also. You see what I'm saying? If the whole number is negative, then the fraction itself is negative. You with me on that? That's a really common mistake. Yes, sir.
15. I got negative 151.
I can't help that. You're converting it like Wilson wanted to. You wanted to convert it to improper fractions. You really shouldn't do that. That's why I want you listening to me right now, paying attention, and let me show you how I want you to do it. All right. You did an A+ on your last test. That's what I'm expecting. If you want to maintain, you got to listen to me now. Do you hear me? All right. Watch what I'm doing. Ask questions. All right. Don't tell me you got a different answer than me. Go.
How'd you get 1/8 again?
It was originally 1/8.
Oh, for the other one. Oh, okay, I see it.
You see what I'm saying? They're the same. I just like to stack them on top of each other. All right. That's how we used to. That's how you should do it. To me, it's easier to see that. You can write them horizontally. I just like writing them vertically. All right. Yes.
I'm confused when I got the 6 on the 6/8.
Because we multiplied by 2 to make it 8.
Oh. That's one.
You see it now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good job. Ready? Let's look at 17 now. First thing you need to ask yourself is, are we adding them or subtracting them? Adding them because they're both negative. Does everybody agree with that? Now, let's just write it. Negative 6 5/9. Negative 9 1/6. And then tell me what the common denominator is. 18. So I want everybody to put an 18 here. Now you watching me, Austin? This is how I want you to do it. You don't have a pencil in your hand. All right. Get your paper out and work the problems with me. All righty. So what do I multiply the first fraction by? And it becomes, and the second one becomes, and then we're going to add or subtract. I forget. Add. So what do I get?
Negative 15 and then 13.
Yes. Right. Come on. I want you have to be masters of fractions. Curtis, how am I doing today? You got it? You'd ask me if you don't know something, right? Okay. Wilson.
I'll try not to do improper fractions, but if I do it on the test, will you take off?
Wilson, stop asking me these questions. Do I care how you do it, Wilson?
No.
I just want a right answer. That's what I want. All right. You ask me that every day. All right. I don't mean to fuss, but this is the best way to do it. All right. You're being stubborn and you're going to do it your own way. And then you're going to get to harder problems and you're going to go, wow. I promise you. All right. Just like Austin. He doesn't want to listen to my explanation. You can be, you're allowed to be stubborn in here. All right. That's perfectly fine. Here we go. Number 19. Now, the first thing you ask yourself, are we adding or subtracting? We are subtracting because one is negative and one is positive. Does everybody agree with that? Most people look at the plus sign and they say, well, we're adding because there's a plus sign. That's not true anymore. All right, once you know positives and negatives, just because it's plus doesn't mean you're adding. Now, I'm trying to encourage everyone, the larger number goes first. So I want to put negative 6 3/4 first plus 1 7/10. Now, again, the reason why I did that is because the 6, I know I'm subtracting, and 6 is bigger than 1. All right. So now what's the common denominator? 20. All right, what am I multiplying the first fraction by? 5. Just in case. And the second fraction we're multiplying by? All right, so this one was kind of easy actually, because I don't have to borrow. Does everybody agree with that? Good?
Yes.
Anybody? Now, to me, see what I'm saying? I just want to point this out, Wilson. I really am not mad,
Yeah.
right? I just didn't try. I think that was so simple rather than converting them to improper fractions. It's just easier. The numbers are smaller, right? I can easily convert that. All right. So now we just go ahead and subtract. What's 6 minus 1? And 15 minus 14. There you have it. Now, you always have to be careful. Is the answer positive or negative? Negative. There we go. Negative. All right, here we go. Let's knock out 21. Okay, a little bit harder now. The numbers are getting bigger. All right. So am I going to add or subtract? Tell me, Wilson. Subtract. What number goes on top? 7. Thank you, Wilson. I'm glad you're not mad at me. Good. I have to fuss every once in a while. You know that, right? All right, Austin, thank you, sir.
Oh, I have a question. I thought we were doing the evens.
I can't help that, Austin.
All right.
I can't help that. I said we're going to do the odds and your homework is going to be the evens. So here we go. Now, 6 and 15. Common denominator for 6 and 15. 60. Tell him. 30. Could you do 60?
Yeah.
You can do 60. 30 is a little better, a little easier. So let's everybody put 30 in. Now I want everybody to put 30 down and 30 down, and you judge whether or not you can get the right numerator. All right, I'm going to give you 10 more seconds to write the numerators. 10 more seconds to write the numerators. All right, so the first numerator is going to be 25. The second one's going to be 22. Look how easy that is. Does everybody agree? That's simple. Tell me.
How would you get 11? 22.
Because I multiplied 15 times 2 to get it to 30.
Why would when the number keeps switching, how do you know what number to multiply it by?
Well, because you have to be able to tell me, kiddo, this is what's hard. What times 15 is 30,
Oh, 2.
right? And what times 6 is 30?
6. Oh, wait, 5.
5. That's why we did times 5. And you keep asking me, okay? And that's times 2.
Okay, then.
All right, good. All right. And so now when we subtract, what do we get? Tell me.
So you get 4.
And?
2, and 3 over 3.
Yep. And now do we have to reduce?
Yes.
Yes. So you should be able to tell me 4 and 1.
4 and 1.
Yes, negative 4 and 1/10. Austin,
How do you get negative 7?
how did I get what?
Negative 7.
Because I looked up at the problem and it says negative 7.
Oh, I thought this was subtraction.
Well, listen to me. Now that you're joining us. Let me show you. What is it now?
Negative 7.
You see what I'm showing you? There's no difference between subtraction and negative. You hear me?
Yeah.
So the sign in front tells you whether it's positive or negative. You hear me? All right, that was a good lesson for you today. And listen, do you understand what I'm saying? I think you did great on your last test, but you have to now continue to listen. All right, that's how you get smarter. Continue to listen. All right, don't think you know it all just because you did it yesterday. All right, listen, you're going to learn something every day. All right, here we go. Am I adding or subtracting these guys? Subtracting. So what number goes first?
11.
Yes. Negative 11 and 5/9 plus 6 and 2/5. All right, Curtis, can you tell me what the common denominator is by any chance? Take a shot. If you forget and you don't know, the quick way is just multiply 9 times 5. You can just say 45. Now, it might not be the least, but in this case, is it the least? Yeah, that's the best one. But if you ever have any trouble on the test, you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot, just multiply them together. All right, but we don't want to do that because that's not the quickest way. You with me? So common denominator is 45. So let's put 45 down. So what am I multiplying the first one by? 5. Good. And that becomes, you're awesome, girl. See? And the second one by?
9.
That becomes, look, you got it now. Okay. Now, do we say we add them or subtract them? Subtract. What's 11 minus 6? 25 minus 18?
7.
You agree? Now, those of you guys, again, Austin and even Wilson, don't you agree with me? Doing 9 times 11 plus 5 and 5 times 6 times 2 is, the numbers are kind of large. And to me, 104 times, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? I hope you feel that way. All right. But again, if you do it if you get the right answer, it's correct. Okay. All right. 25. Here we go. Oh, this one I need to do. Adding or subtracting? Subtracting. Stay with me, guys. I know it's getting close. Stay with me. But what do I have to do? Borrow. Come on now. Everybody see if they learned how to borrow. Everybody try to borrow. I'm going to put the answer up to the borrowing. And if you get it right, then you know how to borrow properly. So 4 becomes a what?
3.
And then what do I do?
Add 9.
9 plus 1. So the 1 becomes a 10. That's how you borrow. And if you don't know that, you got to make yourself notes. And so now what? 10 minus 7. 3 over, which reduces to 1/3. How's that? 1/3. Everybody agreeing? All right. Hopefully you feel good about that. All right, let's go. Next. Which one are we adding or subtracting? So does it matter which one goes first? Makes no difference. Common denominator is what? Tell me. Uh-oh, we got a big question here.
Is it positive or negative?
Positive, because the 4 is positive. Right. Okay, guys, listen, I want you to try to work on the even sum. I'll put the video up. All right. And you can listen to the evens if you're struggling. Please come in Monday having a good idea what to do. You can do it right now.